It's Players' Day today, huh? A little cloud cover. Jeez. Beautiful to be practicing here in Seattle. Okay, what's up? Okay, so I'll let you know. The first week really feels like the end of the first week for us, and we kind of culminated with a lot of situations today on the field. Tried to jump ahead and tax our guys to do the thinking as well as just the fundamentals and in a short order. And we handled it well, and it was a nice last couple of days to finish the start of this thing. Next week we're getting ready for Lumen Field. You know, we're going to be practicing for that game that we play in the end of the week, and it's really important to us that we build towards that and we get our football ready to go so that we can handle all situations just like it's the first game. So that's kind of how we've gone about it in the past, and it's a really important deal for us again. I'll say this too, another in general thought that today all of our guys tested negative again, so we went through 5 full days of our guys tested negative, so we know that the transition that we made from being home to getting here and starting up camp went perfectly, and I'm really happy for that, really proud of the guys for getting that done. So what that means is we know where we are right now. We're very much in command of where we are, and now we have to do a nice job of continuing to manage all of that, but it's a really good statement from the locker room. You know, the guys got that done. Bobby and Russ and Dwayne and all the guys that pass the messages and stand for the message around here, they put that together in great fashion for our guys, so we're in good shape. Okay, go.
When do you expect to see Dwayne on the field?
Soon. This is a long camp. There's ball games. There's weeks and weeks and weeks to get ready. He's returned in fantastic shape. He's doing all of the stuff in the morning and participating to the maximum of all of that. I think, you know, I'm not worried about Dwayne's football. I just want to make sure that we do everything we can to make him as strong as possible when it comes time to start. And so he's so gifted at playing and also conditioning and all of that. He's ready to go. So I'd like to buy him some time here and then start him down the road a little bit. We don't need to get him out here on the field and bang on him for a while yet. He got kicked in the heel yesterday. Yeah, it's not a serious injury, but it was sore today, so we have to rest him today.
Other than that, what have you seen out of him? I know he's been working a couple different spots.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have nothing but really positive observations, high praise. I love his mentality, his toughness, and his style of play. He's already made a bunch of plays out here. He looks really good. He's had a good chance to get a lot of reps at safety as well as the nickel spot. He's an explosive football player, and we really missed not having him last year.
Pierre Desir was here in 2017 with you guys camp and started a bunch of games the last few years. How has he grown as a player, and how important is it having a guy like that that's been in the scheme with other faces?
Yeah, mostly he's an experienced vet to us, you know, and we've got a lot of young guys at the spot, and I thought that it would be a really good get if we could pull him in here because we know his background, we know his history, we've seen him play on film, we trust the heck out of him, and he could be a real steady element in the competition of all this, and he's come out looking, you know, very much a part of the competition.
How differently are you going to have to manage the preseason with it being just 3 games and kind of right between the third game and the first game?
Yeah.
How different does that kind of set things on the table?
Well, you'll see as we go. Okay, I'm not going to divulge how we're doing this thing. We have a real plan that I like what we're doing here, and you'll see as we go. Because players don't know what we're doing yet either, and we haven't had. It's not the time to talk about that, but. You know, it's not hard. It's just you got to do a little bit differently. And the 2 weeks before the first game is a really, really good decision, I think, for the league, for our players, for the buildup of the preparation. It gives us the best chance to have the most guys available in the first game, and that's really good, smart thinking. So we'll try to take full advantage of that.
And that he's the lightest he's been probably since high school, and he feels really fast, explosive, and all that. Just what have you seen out of him so far?
He looks really the best we've seen him. At whatever 220s, 224, 5 in there. He looks very quick, very light on his feet. He's really confident in his burst and change of direction and all that. He's off to a great start. It's really comforting to see that he all of the work that he did paid off, and he stayed in town for the bulk of the off season and worked with our guys. So he maxed out here, and you can see there's big payback here, and so really anxious to see him, get going as we get to ball games and all.
Alden Smith so far?
He's made a good first impression about learning stuff. He's a very bright kid, and you just got a chance to talk to him. A very smart guy, knows what's going on in the game, brings us experience and background and all of that. Having no trouble picking things up. He's got a real style. He's always had this marvelous length and reach and hands and hand play, and you can just tell he's got a strength and a power to him that's really unusual. And I'm anxious to see. We can't really tell yet. We don't have the pads on yet. How the pass rush, the status of our pass rush. It's going to be very competitive. I hope you can see it already. I mean, it already shows. But once we get into pads, I'm anxious to see where he stands with that. He's rushed outside and inside. He's been in an up stance. He's been in a down stance. He's got a lot of variety of things that he does. And now we need to just incorporate him and see where it fits. So nothing but positive stuff so far. He's done great.
Go ahead. What can the organization do to help him manage his sobriety?
We've been very upfront about our willingness to support the efforts that we've made to organize the time that he's been here, to make use of the support that he already has, that he brings with him in the background. He knows what he's into. He knows what this is all about, and so we're going to be there for him. We're going to look after him. He's one of us, and so he's going to get everything we got every step of the way. The burden falls on him, and he knows that. But it's really important, I think, for him to feel the support. I don't know what he said to you guys, but we've been very upfront and very straightforward, and we're going to be there. We're going to be strong for him and tough for him, and we're also going to love him up as much as we can to help him through this.
What did you need to hear from Alden Smith to make you comfortable?
Yeah, it's a good question because I wanted to feel him, and feel where he's coming from, and we talked to him a number of times before we made a decision, and we did a lot of homework, a lot of research on him as a person, his background. A number of our coaches have been with Alden in other places, which really helped us. They'd seen him work on a day-to-day basis. That really was important. Kenny was really important in this decision, and and we've looked for him to be consistent, and for him to stay, connected to the Word, which he has done that, basically. And so, it's really, as much as anything, you got to feel it. Feel that we're communicating well. He's talking clearly to us. His intentions are show up, and so we have all of the reason to continue to back him. And so, I want him to succeed at this in the worst way, and I want him to come through and show that he can do what he needs to do. And so we're going to give him every opportunity. He's the level of communication is very clear, and he's been very open with us, and he's told us when things were harder than others, and he's been upfront in that regard, and that's helped us understand and believe, and trust that he's working at it, and that it isn't easy, and it's a lifelong commitment that he has to make, and we really sense that the more we can support him, the more obviously we can be there for him, the stronger it makes him. So that's really what our intent is here.
He mentioned to us, Pete, that he had to learn to be vulnerable for the people that want to support him. What did you learn about that or side of him that convinced you could take this on?
Well, he did demonstrate vulnerability in that he was very open and very upfront, and he said, I need some work right now. I need some help right now, and it's going to take me a while to get this done, that done. He was not trying to cover for himself. He didn't pull any punches on it at all. He was very upfront, and it was most refreshing. But really, that was the vulnerability that he demonstrated. From my perspective, I'm not sure. I don't know how he would see it, but it was clear, and I think he deserves all the support in the world to try to show that he can make this, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to compete like crazy to do that.
What do you like about moving into Demarius Randall in the corner?
Well, he's a beautiful athlete. He's really fast, and he's really light on his feet. He's got real good ball sense. I went back and watched his Packer days, and checked him out there when he started up. He had a really good first go-around, and then not quite as effective in the years after. And then he kind of got knocked around to safety and all of that. He came in as a safety, and all, but he's got really good talent, foot speed, quickness, and the ball skills are excellent. So he's had some picks, in his years. So we told him early in the offseason we want to give him a shot at doing this and work at it and get your mind right and all that. He jumped at the opportunity, was excited about it. knowing that the position opened up. And so, matter of fact, now I've been watching the corners really closely in these first few days, and he's off to a very good start technically, and he looks really good movement-wise. Hasn't had a lot of challenges yet. Nobody has. Nobody's had enough challenges to know where they fit. But I'm just gauging, and so I have a good sense for where he is right now going into this second week.
There's a couple plays that Kello made there.
The best that he showed was today. He had some chances. These guys need opportunities to show. There hasn't been many, and really, this is phase 3 work still, and we really have to be very careful about challenging the ball. We try to not challenge anything where there's any contact at all. So it's a really hard. This is not real ball for the corners. They're faking it as best they can. So to be able to show the body control and stay off the guys and still make plays is really an art. And he had some beautiful plays today.
What stood out to you about him since getting in here and the thoughts of him adapting to your system?
He's physically right. He's fast enough. He's athletic enough. He's fluid. He's really tall and long. Got great reach. And his feet move like a smaller guy. So he's got all the things we're looking for. Now and I've seen him play enough. I've broke down all of the things that he's ever done since he's been in the league, and I think there's enough of a reservoir of play making and plays and learning that gives you the thought that he could step right in and take this job. But the hard part is there's other guys he's got to get through. There's other guys too, and so we feel very comfortable. That's why we went after him when we did. We did a really in-depth, research job on him, and he just hasn't had the support and the consistency of the starting position to really know how he'll handle it. He's just had spurts, and so he'll have, in my mind, if he can earn the job, it'll be like a first-time starter to me, and we'll build on him. I've been sitting with him in the meeting room and just trying to make sure that he knows where we're coming from and what's going on, and he's off to a good start, but it's competitive now.
How do you guys know about the cornerback group overall, and is that a position you could still add to?
You can always add, but right now I'm looking at the guys that we have, and I think with Trey battling over on the other side with DJ and with Pierre, and then Trey Brown is he's just getting going. Trey Brown has not done anything to discourage us right now from being in the competition as well. So it's just going to take us weeks, and we got weeks, we got games, we got all kinds of time to figure this out. We will not hurry this decision up. There's no reason to. So I think the competition is really good. A variety of styles and sizes and shapes, in the guys, and we'll tailor our stuff to them. We're not going to try to make them something that they're not. So right now it's gathering information on the guys. That's why I got my own study going that I'll keep on going throughout camp, so I can stay abreast of how they're developing, and I'm really looking forward to one of the things I have the most fun with. So it'll be fun to see how that works out.
Last year, you guys moved LJ kind of inside and out. With all the depth you have on the edge, is kind of that inside spot maybe where he fits best right now, or you like?
We're playing him at the 5 technique and the 3 technique is what we do, in that position. It has to swing back and forth, and Robert is going to be at that same spot for right now. We know that Rasheem can play there, but we're doing some other things with Rasheem right now with that knowledge. But it's going to be a real battle, and Robert Kimdiche has done a really nice job making the first impression here now, and I'm real excited about what he brings to the competition. LJ's in the best shape he's ever been in. He looks the best ever, and he's doing fine. And so, it just feels like so many positions that are really competitive are going to be determined later, just not yet, and we're fine. The thing we love is we're going to try to create a rotation where a bunch of guys can play and keep guys as fresh as possible, and they're giving us every reason to think we can do that right now.
Did you know that Robert was this outgoing and enthusiastic?
No,
before he
I
got-
didn't. No. He's a beautiful spirit now. He really cares about having fun and enjoying it. I can't imagine somebody putting a lid on him, back in the day. I don't know. Maybe that's why some of the stories came out. I don't know. But here we welcome the spirit of it and what he brings, and everybody's got to get along and fit in and all that. He does too. But there's some. I don't want to harness that kind of love for being outgoing and expressive and all of that. I'm not going to get in the way of that. I'm going to cheerlead for that.
What has surprised you about him as a football player that maybe you didn't know before you got him?
Well, I don't know why we're talking so much today. I got a ton of film to watch. But anyway, I went back yesterday and went back and looked at the cut-ups that I had when we evaluated him before, because now I've seen him on the field and seen things that he does. and I just wanted to see it again. And the plays that he's making in games that are highlighted plays with the quickness, the burst, the willingness to just sell out and go for it, chase the football. He's a penetrator. He throws his body around, causes problems for the other team. That's happened in practice, and it looked exactly the same. And even though we're not in pads yet, and so I was fired up because sometimes you're not sure what you're getting, and he's off to a fantastic start. I'm really excited about what he brings. He's athletically. Really solid. He's 300 pounds, and he's long and strong and tough, and his quickness is really there. But he's also a good football player with sense and awareness, and he's got a good feel for getting to the ball. So it's all really good traits.
Where did things stand with Jamal?
I'm sorry.
Any update on Jamal?
Not any update other than the talks are ongoing and amicable, and we're trying to get something worked out.
Do you expect to have Ethan out there doing the team still?
He did a little bit today. I didn't see how much he did. He was supposed to do some today. I think that sounds right, that he'll do more. We're just going to make sure we don't want to make a mistake and go too far too fast with that. He's dying to get out here, and he sees Kyle doing a really good job, and that's, nothing like competition. So he'll be back soon. If not Monday or Tuesday, it'll be right after that.
What is it about Kyle that you stuck through the suspension, brought him back, signed him back this year?
He's it's 6'4" with the long arms and his athleticism. He's 310 or whatever the heck he is. He doesn't have anything that's missing. He has all of the elements. He was a center in college and played a lot of center at school, and then got knocked around to different spots, and so I don't know where it was, Houston or somewhere. I don't remember which way, because he's been on a couple. What's that? Yeah, Baylor guy. No, but I mean in the league, he was a tackle, and he played guard, and he played a little bit of center. We've probably got 80 plays or something to center, and so when we made the move a year ago to see what he looked like, he was at home, and so he's got all of the equipment: long, strong, tough, stout, good base, coordinated, and experienced. Now that we pull from his college days. Shoot, he's right in it. He's right in it. Now, he came to camp knowing, and Ethan came into camp knowing that those guys were going to have a battle. It was going to go 50-50, nose to nose, and battle it out, and we'll figure it out, down the road when it makes sense. And so, had Ethan been here, those guys would have been switching days as starters, just like we're doing with Brandon and Cedric, at the right tackle spot. So, we have really. I wanted to make sure and recapture the competitiveness that we've created here in the past, and make sure it's as real as we can make it for everybody that has a chance to be in that situation. And so those are some really hot spots to watch, and Mike's doing a great job. Solari's doing a great job of giving those guys a chance to be the starter, and then the backup the next day, and then flip it, and that's how it will go for the next few weeks.
That's why you swapped the corners too.
Yep, same deal.
Any update on Dwayne Eskers?
He ran well yesterday. I don't know what he did today. I didn't see him yet, but he ran well and ran hard. Had one little tweak thing in there somewhere, but didn't sustain it. It was okay. So he's making progress, and I don't know much more than we can't project yet. I don't know what to tell you. Timeline. Sorry.
Speaking of competition, the running back, and first one, Kenny and Carson. I'm wondering what else you can talk about the rest of the running.
Yeah, Alex Collins has been marvelous. It's been a marvelous return to us. He came back. He just looked different than he did before, and he, in fact, was lighter. He's probably 15 pounds lighter than he was when he was here before. His quickness, he's always had great feet and great awareness and all that. He's a big-time producer in college because he's a heck of a football player. That's all he's shown. And with him getting the offseason with us and getting more work than the other guys, he came in a couple steps ahead of these other guys who had been hearing it on the Zoom but not able to do it, and he's looked great. So to me, I look at Alex like he's a starter type of guy, and that's the position that he's fighting for. Those three guys are really going for the lead spot, and we're looking at DJ as we know he can run the football, but we really like him in passing down situations and all of that he can bring until he can create more. We're just disappointed as heck that Homer's not out here, because we love what he brings. So it's a good deep group, and looking forward to see how it plays out. We got plenty of time to figure it out.
Going back, where did your idea to play music and practice originally? Where did that come from?
Yeah. I don't have the origin of that. I know it was at SC was when I really committed to it and realized how obviously important it is and how much fun it makes it and how much better it makes practice and it creates a natural distraction. We never, other than last season, we never play when there's nobody there and there's not a bunch of noise and all that until COVID year. But so it's always just been part of the building the atmosphere. So it's a competitive, field that we practice on. And but shit, I just like it. I just like having the music going and when we turn the music off, it shocks everybody. It doesn't feel right. So anyway, so it's been a long time. I think it was in the first year at SC. Oh well, I'll give him the old cut sign when I don't like what's going on now. Yeah, he knows. He knows. I can affect that within about 20 seconds. I can get something I want to hear. So.
Those aren't all your songs?
Not all. No, they've got to bear through some of my stuff too now. Whenever James is coming up, there ain't a guy out here that is calling for James Brown except for me. So, except for John Clayton, by the way. But you don't realize it, but Clayton comes out and sits on his deck over here. When James comes up. So, who would ever think that John Clayton was a James Brown guy? He's big time. He knows what lick and stick is. I mean, he understands. Groove maker. He can go back to Apollo. Live at the Apollo Volume 2 and Side 2. He knows what's on the side. I mean, so.
The right tackle battle. You've talked about it a lot this offseason. You mentioned Cedric.
Well, I'm sorry.
You mentioned Cedric's name several times this offseason. Prompted. How much did the way that he played in December last year against a really high level of competition go into really opening that spot?
Yeah, well, he did do well, and the thing, we don't have any doubt about Cedric's movement, ability, strength, all of that. He's got all that. He just has to grow and develop as the player that you can count on out there and on a regular basis, which he hasn't had a chance to do that yet. I'm going to tell you something flat out that I messed up last year. Cedric looks like a left tackle. And he was drafted in the first round, and he's played left and right and all that. But I wanted him to develop as a left tackle, but he wanted to be a right tackle, to tell you the truth. And he said that, and I didn't give him enough credit for how important it was for him to compete at that spot. And so when we talked in the exit interview at the end of the season, he made mention of it. We talked right about it, and I just felt like I didn't do a good enough job, of knowing what was important to him, to give him a good shot at it, and I promised him I'm going to give him every chance. And he's worthy physically and smart enough and all that kind of stuff. He just needs play time. He needs to just gain control of his game and what it is. And so he's going at it. Brandon Shell is a terrific right tackle. We have no problem with B. Shell being our starting right tackle. But now Cedric's going for it, and he's trying to get that job from him, and it's just old-fashioned comp, just back old school, battle it out, and best man's going to win. And so I promised Cedric that he would get that shot, knowing that he can still help us at left tackle if we need him. So I just felt like I didn't do a good enough job, and it was really good for me too, because it snapped me back into competitions, everything around here, and I missed that opportunity with him last year to give him that off to show where he fit. And so you can hear me in all of these positions. It's affected me because that's my roots, and I just screwed it up. I didn't do good enough, so I'm gonna do better. Matter of fact, I'm doing really well right now, so I'm very proud of it.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, see ya. Why did I have to end it on that?